Hi, my name is Vicky'S, and on July 14th of this past year, my daughter Angel tested positive for COVID. Angel is 29 years old and is a healthcare worker at Sycamore Shoals Hospital. We really fully expected her to just be able to do her 10 days at home and be able to go back to work. She's 29. And during her quarantine, we were able to isolate her, had her own bedroom, her own bathroom, and we would talk to her through the door and deliver her meals through the door. Every day she seemed to feel just a little bit better, but on day 6 she seemed a little off. And when it came time for supper, she wouldn't eat. As my husband and I walked that night, we decided that a trip to the ER was probably going to be a good plan for the next day. But at 2 o'clock in the morning, I woke up with the feeling that we needed to go to the ER immediately. My husband had to work the next day, so I told him to sleep. We'll probably be right back home anyway, I said. When I went to Angel's room and told her we were going to the ER, she asked why. And I told her it was to make me feel better. But she had trouble getting dressed and even more trouble getting down the stairs. On our drive, she said she couldn't breathe. I told her to hang on because we would be at the ER very soon. Upon arrival, some very nice person brought a wheelchair out to us, and I wheeled her in. As we were checking in, Angel went non-responsive and was wheeled away. I finished checking in and began to wait. When the ER doctor came to speak to me, he told me that she had gone into cardiac arrest 3 separate times and would most likely not make it. He returned to Angel, and I started trying to wake my husband. My husband finally arrived, and we waited until someone came to talk to us, and they told us that she had been moved to the COVID ICU unit. We were taken upstairs to the waiting area to meet the doctor. The doctor began to explain how serious the situation was and to say that Angel, once again, he said, probably would not make it. He said that her lungs were completely white with COVID. They talked to us and answered our questions as if they had all the time in the world. And when the doctor left, there was a nurse that stayed with us, and she became our touchstone throughout all of this. She gave us her phone number and told us to call her anytime, day or night. We went home to rest and to wait. I'm sure I don't have to tell you that it was not easy leaving our daughter alone and to think that we might be leaving her to die alone. But it turns out she was not alone. We received many phone calls during the day to get permission for the various procedures. She was placed on a ventilator and began receiving 24-hour dialysis. Every person we talked to on that first day was very kind to us and reassured us that everything possible was being done. And when we said, tell her mom and dad love her, the answer was always, we do that every time we walk in her room. The following day, we were brought in to see her. It was never said, but we knew that this was not common, and it was for us to tell her goodbye. We were met at the door and prepared for what we would see. We were then told how to suit up and how to go in. The nurse walked with us. I can't really tell you what it was like seeing a child in that kind of a situation, no matter what their age. But I can tell you I did not tell her goodbye. I told her she could do this. I told her to fight. And then once again, the doctor and nurse met with us to make sure that we understood what was happening. And this continued every time we spoke to someone. She was on the ventilator for 3 weeks. She ended up being in the hospital for 64 days. On August 28th, 38 days after first entering the ER was when she was moved to rehab. It was an incredible experience. She spent 26 days in rehab, regaining her strength. Her voice, actually, because she had been on the ventilator for 3 weeks, she could not talk very well at all. And then finally, she was able to come home. It was quite a traumatic experience. I can tell you that now, 9 months later, Angel has finally been released to return to work on a full-time basis. They have been working her up very gradually, with very short with very short times at the hospital, but she is back up to her full 12-hour shift. She continues to work at Sycamore Shoals Hospital. And I guess the one thing that we really want people to know is that no matter what, there is always hope. But the other thing that concerns us is that people need to understand that COVID is still out there. We have all had our vaccines. Angel has had her vaccine following her bout. She probably had pretty high immunities anyway, but they said it was probably a good idea, so she did hers. But COVID is out there. It's important to be careful, and it's important to take it seriously. As you can see, it can be quite an ordeal. I know others have gone through this. I guess what surprised us was the fact that she was 29 years old, so it can happen to anyone. Thank you.